only be described as unbelievable, incredible, fab, groovy, out of sight, crazy, insane, and frightfully expensive.
It's afternoon plus. And thank you very much for that applause, because it must say it makes you feel good. And it's the first time in this series that we've actually had a studio audience, so thank you very much for coming. The next 45 minutes could be pretty outrageous, not to say unpredictable, for with us today we have two very funny men indeed.
Well, the first you may probably have guessed at, and if not from him, from the titles, which I must admit we stole from him. The second, well, he'll reveal himself in the fullness of time.
Well, at least I hope so. I mean, Mavis, I don't know what we'd do without him. Oh, not a chitter.
Simon, have we got Harold Wilson on, darling?
You guessed it. No, Humphrey Bogart.
I thought you were very good. But first things first, a few weeks ago we did a show about bodies. It was a fine, except for one small thing. Our guest star was late. Very late. In fact, he turned up with just 30 seconds of the show left. He burst into the studio like this. Kenny Everett. Too late, too late, too late. And I was going to have a little chat to you, my darling.
We'll have it after the show.
Yes, all right. But where have you been?
I was viciously attacked by a slice of Rivita.
Look what you got, this lovely boxing glove for you. It's terrible you didn't come.
Before I go, can I do my Margaret Lockwood
Go on
impersonation?
then, yes. Quickly. Well, I wish you'd come earlier. I've always wanted to meet you.
I'll come tomorrow.
Will you come tomorrow? All right, Heath. And that's it. That's it. We hope you've enjoyed it, even though he wasn't here. Well, Kenny Everett is here, and I've made sure of it. I've fastened him to me. Bit sexy, darling.
Funny cufflinks guy. Hello, Mavis.
Why didn't you turn up? I want an explanation, just quickly, about why you didn't turn up at that show.
I thought the show was on at 3.
But why didn't you put it in your diary?
I rang my agent, she was at lunch, and when she eventually came back, I said, is it 2:30 or 3:30? She says, it's 1:30, it's on now. I got every red light from Notting Hill to here.
Do you do it often? You do. You do.
What?
You turn
Turning
up
up
at the
late?
very last minute.
How
And I've been told.
Dare you!
Funny gun guy.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Should we take this off
Have you got
now?
any others in there? No, you can't take this off yet, because I
Now
want to
we've
ask you something.
established the joke.
I want to ask you something first, while we're handcuffed together. If we were handcuffed like this for a day, like, say, tomorrow, tell me what we'd do.
Oh, we'd have a terrific, sexy time.
Yes, and then what would we do after that?
Oh, we'd probably go to a movie. I'd sit in a box, you could sit in the stalls. Dangle you over the edge. That's about it, really, for that line.
Would you do anything else?
Well, if I had you in handcuffs?
Yeah.
What time is this?
No, no, I don't mean that. I mean, I'd quite like to know your day, actually. Do you get up early? Do you get up late?
Oh, very late. About 11 o'clock.
Mm.
Yeah. I've never seen 6 o'clock in the morning.
Not even when you're on your farm? The big farm
Oh,
in
no,
Wales?
in Wales. No, we didn't do it. We had a lot of cows about, but they seemed to take care of themselves. They needed emptying occasionally. But, you know, you could put that off for a while until they were straining and knocking on the door.
I said milk us.
If I were handcuffed to you when you were, say, 13.
So, what, at school? Oh, you'd have got hit a lot.
By?
By bullies. Because I was like a stick insect. They used to follow me around. Oh, let's hit Ken. He'll snap easy.
By the way, that reminds me why we were going to ask you on that programme, which you never came to. We were going to ask you on because you seem to have a thing about being a weedy person. Why? You've got a nice trim figure.
No,
Good
not
face,
in those days.
kiddo.
In those days, it was all Charles Atlas, wasn't it? It was all...
You too can kick sand in people's faces.
If you were thin, you got hit a lot at school.
But did you really get bullied at school?
Yes.
Because you must have got the gift of the gab then.
I was the slim, artistic type. And all the others were practising to be mafia, and I didn't do too well. I tried to be clever. I made friends with the school bully. I obsequioused my way into his affections.
Well, for protection.
By saying how great he was when really he should have been shot at birth. But it got me out of a lot of trouble, that.
When you were little, what did you want to be?
I'm still little.
All right, when you were...
I was bigger than this when I was born. Where's my champagne gone? You rats!
It's gone, it's
Oh,
gone.
you bums! Now let's get
All
these
right, get
silly
those off.
things off. Yes.
What are you going to do when they are off?
Sure, this is the right key.
No, you've got to do it anti-clockwise. I thought you were good with gadgets.
Not this sort of thing. Don't give us away, Mavis. That should be it.
Have you got it? No.
It usually is anti-clockwise, isn't it?
You broke my wrist. Oh, thanks a million. Now then, Everett, now I've got you out of my clutches. Tell me this about yourself. You started off in pirate radio, and Taggart, our producer, said to me, when he was in Col, in Canterbury, he said that the 60s, that sort of part where pirate radio was very strong, was the most exciting time for him. Now, it wasn't for me, because I don't remember it, quite frankly. I mean, I'm older, but I don't remember this particular patch. And he said the reason why he loved it so much was that it was suddenly freedom, he said. It suddenly gave you freedom.
Well, it was suddenly a lot of things that we hadn't had before. It was suddenly England is fab. There was Union Jacks everywhere, and there was the Beatles. That was a great part of it. And then there was pirate radio, which was records on the radio, which we'd never had before. Before that, it was the BBC Light programme, and you used to get one record a week. It was on the David Jacobs show. Do you remember late night, when everyone was in bed, they used to sneak a record in. Otherwise, it was the Northern Dance Orchestra.
But did you know when sort of Radio Carolina sunk without a trace, was that sort of quite a sad thing for you?
Oh,
Because
yeah, I did a little tribute on Capitol.
Mm.
Is this going out on the air now?
Yes.
Oh, well, I've said it then.
So that's your tribute. But what made you start in that particular line of things? Because in fact what you did was become a really... Are you going to listen? No, no.
Mavis is talking.
Here we go. We'll start again.
Look at this manacles and bondage. Look at the chains on the shoes even. Ooh, Mavis, we got your number, dear.
I just dressed up for your sake today, Kenny Everett. Tell me more about your little quirks then, if you're going to talk about my little quirks.
I've got a loofah quirk. I adore loofahs. No, it's absolutely true. I've been into loofahs, if you pardon the expression, for many, many years now. And there's an art. No, it's true. You know when you scrub yourself with a flannel, you're hours at it, and it never really gets below the surface, you know. But with one wipe of a loofah, it's all done. You know, you have to pick your features off later and stick them back. But there's an art to developing a loofah, because you know it comes when you buy it in Harrods. It's like a round, tall brick, and you have to cut it up into slices, get the middle out, plop the seeds out, go outside, rub it up against the wall for 10 minutes to soften the fibres, boil it for 2 days. Am I boring you? I also quite like hoovering. The only drag is, you know, they've got these bags inside with all the muck. If you tried stuffing a bag full of Hoover dust into the dustbin, it farts it all back at you. Shoving it down, it's going... But it's a great sense of achievement having hoovered a flat, don't you think? Oh,
Are you out?
And I love going to Safeways. I love supermarkets. I love supermarkets. It's like Aladdin's cave. I just walk along with me, you know, the trolley, stick my arm out behind the tins, go... and walk out. Oh, God! Oh, cut! We'll try that one again. You walk out with 200 tins of ambrosia creamed rice.
You know, on your video show, since you just spilled that glass of water, do you cause a lot of destruction?
Yes, but we edit those bits out.
But you do. But you actually do break things quite a lot, don't you?
Yes, I'm covered with marks and damage, you know. I've still got the... have you got a K-lens on that camera? I've still got the stitches from the first... Yeah. There's the stitches from the first show. See that little mark there? That's 3 stitches. We did pushing a microphone through the lens sketch. And then I've got... I was doing some rude things with a lady during 30-Second Theatre, which goes out this Monday. And I was sort of going, oh! I came away with all abrasions, but the burns healed up quite well from the second series, where I did my exploding violin sketch.
You know when you came in...
Mavis, I love you.
I love you, Kenny Everett. I think I love you, Kenny Everett.
Well, that's that. On to the next person now.
Tell me that. Tell me...
Simon, I love you. Oh, let's go the whole hog.
You are an anarchist, Ben. You are an anarchist.
No, I voted Conservative. I did. I love that Maggie Thatcher. Her and her stainless steel hair. She's one. Have you noticed it never moves?
Listen, I thought when I was going to meet you that maybe you're going to be a really shy, retiring fellow, a little bit diffident, because you usually hide behind the characters you play on your show, your video show, and that's a chance for me to say, let's now have a look at some of the characters in your video show. They're all fairly outrageous, rude even, not least this first character now.
Hello, ladies and creeps. Sid's not here. Welcome to my video show. And what a great show it's gonna be tonight. The best part of which is the Kelly Enema ain't gonna be in it. And now, over to the frog.
You stupid parface, you make me sound like a muppet. I'm not a muppet. Oh, it makes me so angry. Ah, hello, my little flashes in the park. It is me, the lovely Marcel. Ah, shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut! No, hello, angry of Mayfair here. What? Who? What? How much? Never! No, that was the kidnappers. They've got Everett, and they want £10,000. And if we don't give it to them, they're going to send him back!
Which one of those is nearly like you? Angry of Mayfair? And where did he get his
My
suit from?
favourite one. We'll get onto that later.
All right.
During Frankie Howerd's bit.
Righto.
The easiest one to do is Marcel, because you just stick that rubber bit on. Do you mind not talking while we're on the air? The difficultest one is Angry at Mayfair, because you have to put fishnet tights on and ladies'
Difficult for you, Kenny, you mean?
Well,
difficult for you.
Have you ever put fishnet tights on?
Yes.
Oh, they're agony. You pull them up and they go... and then you put what my mother used to call suzzies to this thing. And it holds your legs in this sort of elastic cage. And you do... The angry bit is because it's dreadful to wear. You know, you go, oh, God. And that's just because of the knickers and and you peel them off and you've got these sort of crisscrossed legs. And now back to Mavis.
And in fact, we are now going to go to the break before you pour that over on me. And after the break, we are going to have another very funny person here, Frankie Howerd.
Once in a lifetime, there comes a story so gripping, so vast, that only the motion picture screen can capture the full force of its emotion. And only a superstar could do justice to this theme.
Anybody there?
I'm here. The entertainment's arrived.
Oh, dear. I've played empty houses before, but God blimey.
Who is this oaf?
Mr. Twelvetree's the great tragedian. He's here to provide her entertainment.
She lies. Where does she lie?
In her grave.
Damn moron.
Now, watch it, mate.
Man's a cretin.
That's better.
Now, I've got you, haven't I, Mr. Clever Dick?
You'll have to kill me to get them.
With the greatest of pleasure. Catch! This isn't going to be excruciating, is it? I mean, I don't mind agony, but I draw the line at excruciation.
Ah, that'll teach you. You thought you were dealing with an idiot, didn't you? Ah!
That was from House in Nightmare Park, and no need to
The
tell
whole
you.
of the house in Nightmare Park.
Did you get injured?
Trailer? Was that the trailer?
Very near the film. Did you get injured there? It looked as if it was quite dangerous.
Did I get injured? Bit.
When that axe came through the door there.
Well, you see, we had a director on the film. I'm going to be more languid than he is. You don't mind.
We've got refills of water in case you need them.
I'm not going to work so hard because I realise I'm getting paid, which is nothing. So,
you should worry.
I should be dynamic. Anyway, it's the most strange show this, I must say, so far. First of all, we have the hostess saying this is the first time she's had a studio audience. And then she's hoping to have me after the interval, apparently. And then he does something strange with loofahs. I don't quite... He's into loofahs. How do you get... I mean, what do you mean by getting into a loofah?
Don't question
with what? Don't question it? No, all right. Anyway... I'm sorry.
Yeah, forget it.
I'm sure, yeah. No, I want to know. Now, the thing was that when you're making movies, which is a different sort of thing altogether, you do things you're supposed to be acting, and sometimes a director will ask you to do the most stupid things, well, dangerous things. A lot of famous film stars have what they call stunt men to do it all for them. And like an idiot, I did it all myself. For instance, I had to be in this film, which was shown on television last year. It's a comedy thriller, In a Pit of Snakes. And when they showed me the script, it was like 20, 80 pages, and it was half a page. It said, Foster 12 Trees goes and finds these diamonds in this pit of snakes. So I thought, well, obviously, first of all, it'll be about 10 minutes. Secondly, they're bound to have dummy snakes. And probably what you just see the back of my head will be a stuntman. And so this director said to me, now we've allocated 3 days for this scene. So I said, well, why 3 days? He said, well, you're in the snake pit, which is about the size of this room. So I said, well, I mean, there won't be real snakes, will there? He said, oh, well, of course. There they are. There they are.
They look pretty awful.
They are, they were real snakes. And
Did you get friends with them?
No, well, I felt sorry for them because they weren't getting paid much either. And, I felt sorry for them. But you see, I was there for 3 days in these snakes. And they were crawling all over the place. And after we had a director, it was a young chap, and he was just started, and he was hysterical. He went around all the time like this! You know, a bit like you, actually. And, manic. He was manic. And... but this was without drink. And he started shouting and screaming, now, trying to get these snakes to act. Well, now, first of all, snakes have no ears, for a start. So you can't shout and say, move over here, move over there. And they were all over the place, and I was petrified. So after 3 days, I said, now, look, you've got enough shots of this now, really. I'm doing this, and there was no acting, so I was terrified. But going back to your other scene, what I had to do was to back against a wall. And this madman Ray Milland was in the room behind me, and I said, there you are. Now I've got you trapped. And all of a sudden, this axe came through here, you see, through the door. Yeah. So it was on a hinge, and it was a real axe. It was ice. It was ice, and it was sharp like razor's edge, like that, behind the door. So he said, now back against the wall, like that. And he said, well, you're like that, and I said, ha ha. And he said, it'll just come through and hit you there. So I said, well, how do I know exactly where to back against this wall? So he said, well, there's a mark. There's a cross on the door. So I said, but back of my head, there's no eyes. I said, I cannot go that way. I don't know how I'm hitting this mark. So I thought to myself, I must be out of my mind. And anyway, I did this, and I went back against the wall, and I was supposed to be petrified, which I was, and I was going like that. And this axe came through, and just dead there like that. And I thought, thank God that's over. And he said to me, one more, please. So I said, well, why? And he said, you don't look frightened enough. Oh, really? He said, you don't look frightened enough. So I said, well, I couldn't be any more. He said, well, you don't show anything. I said, no, I was too frightened to show any acting. Petrified. So I noticed a nurse standing by. Honestly, I beg your pardon, really, with a glass of brandy or something. I thought, what's she doing in the studio? And I realised, and then all of a sudden, we did it again. Quack! And this time, the axe went... about, well, not very much, but just slightly into the shoulder, and really could have been very dangerous. And I thought to myself afterwards, I don't know why I'm doing this. I must be out of my tiny mind. It's an extraordinary thing what you do in show business, when you're doing films.
Yeah. You were, okay, just injured there, but over the...
I wasn't
the New
injured,
Year,
I wasn't actually injured,
All
it was a near miss, if you
yeah,
know what I mean.
but in the New Year you injured yourself, and you fell over, broke your pelvis, and you've been in hospital for several weeks. But you're well now, because I came down to see you on Tuesday, and we went down to your place in Somerset, and you took me for miles and miles around Somerset, so you're obviously well. Rambling away.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Walking and rambling.
Rambling away. Well, you're actually right. I was rambling away. Yeah, I tell you what I did. You wouldn't believe this, Mavis. I took him, and I think rightly so, to about 3 churches. Did I not?
Yes, you nearly converted me.
Did I?
Yes.
Well, nearly, yeah. And we went to some church. Yes, we talked, and I mean, I say we talked. I think I did all the talking. You drank the gin, if I remember rightly.
What? Me? I don't know what he's talking about, me.
You do.
But you're obviously well now. But it must have been a
Yes,
traumatic time lying in bed for weeks.
A taxi driver said to me this morning that his girlfriend was in hospital with you at the same time, and you had parties all the time in the wards.
No, that's not true.
True.
No, that's
he said
not
it was true. 4 o'clock in the morning.
With
the nurses.
Well, I mustn't say the nurses, because the nurses aren't supposed to drink in hospital. So I said the nurses had a drink, I would be saying something which is unethical. No, what we used to do, I got myself into a wheelchair eventually. I found I could hop from my bed into a chair. So I got into a wheelchair and I manoeuvred myself. So I used to appear like Dracula about 10 o'clock and terrorise the wards and the nurses. And it was very lonely at night there. So I used to say, come if there's anybody around, come and have a drink. So we used to have a little drink, but not till 4 in the morning. I tell you, Mavis, really. No, it's wishful thinking, dear.
What did surprise me, though, or didn't surprise me in a way, is that I went down there expecting to see Frankie Howerd, very different from the Frankie Howerd that we see on screen and know and love. And
was that your impression? Must be the impression you did earlier on.
Yeah, did you like it?
Don't do it again.
Did you like
Watch out! What? Don't titter down!
I think he's good. I think he's good.
That's how I appear to you.
But you used to say titter-e not, didn't you?
Titty not.
Oh, I love that.
Well, who?
Well, it wasn't me.
Now. You see, now I'm getting anarchistic like he is now. Now all I'm on now is a loofah and a glass of champagne. I've done this. He's done all my gags before I got on.
But what was surprising was we went down there and he said, right, have a gin and tonic. Yes, I did have one.
Yeah.
And the gin was in fine, but the tonic was, and it was half of it was all over the place. And I'm sure that's you all
over.
life. Yes.
We're clumsy.
A little bit.
Yes, I am. No, a lot of. I'm a very big bit. No, I'm a very clumsy man. I always was, and I was because I was when I was young. Because I'm a couple of years older than Kenny, as you've gathered. Yes. But I was a very nervous man. I was very nervy. Funny thing, it's an interesting thing. Before the show came on, we were all sitting out there having a sandwich. That's all we did have too. But and he was having a little champagne. I had a little drop of brandy. And you said to me how nervous you were, and Kenny said to me how nervous he was. He said, "I'm terrified." And I said, well, don't worry, because I'm nervous. Are you nervous?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, it's so funny, isn't it? You see, he comes on the this screen, I said, here, and all of a sudden, and he lights up. Now, why is that? Why?
Why? I don't understand why you, of all people, who's been a stand-up comedian for a long time, who can get up there...
Don't emphasise the long time.
for a month or two.
Yeah.
But when you were a kid, you were excruciatingly shy, weren't you?
Yeah.
And I mean, how about the change? It seems extraordinary.
The change?
What made a shy
change?
What made a shy young man become an extrovert comedian like you are?
Oh, dear. He's asking me to be profound. Why? Well, I suppose it's the idea. I'll tell you why. Because I was shy. Why are people shy? I suppose you wouldn't believe this. I suppose it's because it has a kind of inferiority complex or something, and one wants to try and get people's love, maybe, or attention, or something to give you a reason for living, or for a place in the sun, so to speak, a place in the world. And people who don't feel they can do anything very much, they look for something to do. And I was, at that time, feeling that I couldn't do anything very much, and I didn't know what I was going to do in life, and I felt, in fact, I didn't think I could do anything at all. And then went to the theatre one day to see a pantomime, and we were very poor, and we were up in the gallery, and I saw the pantomime, I thought, show business, isn't it marvellous? And so after that, I became a bit stage struck. And one day, I don't know what it was, I did an amateur production. I was an amateur actor. I was only, well, very young, about 12, I think, and I did a part in a play, and I was pleased to be in it, and I had no ego then. I was just pleased to be in it. And I did a play called, would you believe, Tilly of Bloomsbury. And as an old play, and I, obviously as a young boy, I couldn't be anything else except an old man, because you had to have some face fungus to disguise my age, so I put on a beard. They put on a beard, rather, and I played Tilly's father. And the local press gave me, it was quite a comedy part in a way, and gave me a good press. And the church warden came to me afterwards and said to me, you must be an actor, that's what you must be. And I thought, yes, I will be, an actor, not a comic, an actor. Because in those days, the trouble was, I'm sorry to go on about me, but that's what I'm not being paid for. What I thought, see, in those days when I got very nervous, and there are a lot of people who go to pieces when a lot of attention's put onto them, they get frightened. And I used to stutter. I used to get an impediment of speech a lot. And I used to go, I mean, you see, Kenny was outside saying how nervous I am. And he uses this nervous energy going, but he controls it, you see. And he uses it to be funny.
But Frankie, that's what you did, by stammering and doing that sort of thing.
Yes,
hesitant and not getting the words out.
The thing is, Mavis, that you see, if you stammer or can't control your fear, if you go to pieces, so to speak, that's no good. I mean, you have to learn to control it, and I couldn't sometimes control it. I mean, I used to really literally go to pieces. I used to be petrified, and I used to go in for amateur talent competitions, and anything where there was any attention, where it was important, where something depended upon it, I would go to pieces. I should go, and when I was in about 17, I went in for, would you believe, a scholarship at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, from whence came Laurence Olivier and Richard Burton and people like that. And I went in, there was a gymnasium there, and there was a board watching me, and I could do Shakespeare and things like that. And now, you see, I did to be, if you pardon the expression, did to be or not to be. That is the question. Now, for real. Now, this is supposed to take about 3 minutes. Well, 4 hours later, I was still going, well, to be, that. And they said, no, out.
Hogging it.
Out, no good. And I went really to pieces, and that was it. And I had this awful problem. I used to have it very earlier on, all through my career, when first nights, well, all actors are nervous first nights. You've got critics outside watching you, they write things in the paper, and what they say, or what the public say, could depend on a year's run or off the second night. So you hope to do something special. And of course, you want to be your best. And because you want to be your best, you're very nervous. Now, I find, for instance, in the early days, I used to do raw variety shows. The backstage tension, you wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe. I used to get so nervous. And so in the end, what I used to do, because I was so nervous, and I used to think I'd go to pieces, what I used to do was not to arrive there till during the interval. And outside, I used to wait in the car, and then when it got near me, I used to sit, my manager used to rush out and say, Frank, you're on. Now, that's made me, otherwise, backstage, I was there waiting, you know,
but that's what you do, Kenny Everett.
Do you
Don't
realise
you?
that was all one sentence?
But listen, if Frankie says he started off in showbiz because he was shy, could you have ever, because you've in fact been behind a mic and behind cameras, haven't you? You've never really faced audiences.
It's still terror.
Yes.
When I was at the BAFTA thing last week, did you see it? The awards thing, big deal, Princess Anne and everything. When you go out on stage, you're sitting there at the back going, oh God. When you go out, you see this vast array of faces about a mile away from the stage, because it's a huge building. And it made me, usually when I go on TV, it's all and you're off. And before you have time to be nervous, the show's over. But then I stopped and looked at them, and they looked back at me. And something horrible passed between us.
Shall we move over?
But Kenny, but why then? Well, I mean, why did you get into? Why did you?
Thought so, Mavis?
It's the first time I've ever had anybody in my arms wearing a beard, I'll tell you that.
That's not what I've heard.
Well, you've heard wrong.
No, this place was so huge, the hall we were in, that I said to the guy afterwards, I said, "Gee, there wasn't many laughs." And he said, "Oh no, the hall is so big that the laughter that you deserve rattles round the hall for ages." And I said, "You mean the act that's on now is getting my laughs?"
But you don't really use an audience at all, you see, do you? You've never been accustomed to it.
No, we have a crew who drive cameras and do sound.
Yeah, but you play to them.
And that's it's almost as many people who are in this audience, you know,
Yeah.
because they have one guy for every job.
One thing that intrigues me about both of you is that I think Frankie cares passionately about the audience and his effect on the audience. Kenny, one thing I get from you is that this is you, and I'll play a bit of Bach now and a bit of the Beatles now, and if you like it, well, tune in. Otherwise, you know, there's always Radio 1, 2, 3 or 4.
Well, if you went out to try and satisfy everybody, your show would end up being zero. Because you'd be going in all directions at once. You've got to choose a direction to go. And hope
Yes, the
everyone
thing is
follows.
that different people, I may say, have different... People tend to cry at the same things. They don't tend to laugh at the same things.
No, that's
People
right.
have a different senses of humour. The young have a different sense of humour today. And people, as I say, tend to cry at the same things. Most people cry if someone they love dies or something like that. But people don't cry at the same... don't laugh at the same things. May I ask you something, Mr...
Everett.
Everett. I know who you are. What's your first name? I can't remember.
Edith.
It used to be Morris.
You're confirmed.
It used to be Morris, didn't it?
Was it Morris?
Yeah, Morris Cole.
M-A-U-R-I-C-E. Terrible, huh?
No, is that real? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me something. When you first started, you started as a disc jockey, did you not?
Yes, on a pirate ship. Yeah.
On a pirate ship. Now, tell me something. When you first did that, did you have any idea in your mind that one day you would like to be, if you can use the expression, a comic?
No. I just wanted to play records a lot.
You wanted to play, but I mean, I see. Now, how ambitious are you?
Not.
You're not ambitious?
No.
He wants
It's
to
a
stay
nice
on the
feeling.
sidelines.
No, I'm not ambitious at all. I don't want to be a
I
star
know.
or anything. But it's just a nice feeling when you sit under the letterbox every morning and a checky floats down.
So you're saying you do it for money?
Yes.
You like to be rich? Would you like to be rich?
Yes, I'm moving into Golders Green next week.
There's a crematorium there. Listen,
I'll see you there.
Hey, Mavis, we're losing our jobs
I know,
here.
it's wonderful. I hope Frankie will probably think he's going to take our pay off us now. Do you think
I'm
now that
interested
you've
because-
done...
No, I'm very interested because I tell you, I mean, would you classify yourself now as a comic?
It
Or
depends.
what,
It
or-
depends what comes out at the
In your
time.
show?
If a funny line comes out at that moment, I'm a comic.
But you don't do it seriously, do you? So you're a comic, I suppose. I mean, you're not a straight compere, are you?
It depends what job I'm doing.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about the television now.
But you see, Kenny, you've
I
also
wish you'd
got...
stop rowing.
You know when... all right.
I'm concealing what I really think. Concealing.
What do you...
I tell you, Mavis,
What are you driving at?
Well, I don't know. I tell you, I mean, see, having had a lot of years in the old British musicals, all the British musicals, and I've seen a great number. I've seen and worked with a great number of comedians all over the years. If Kenny considers himself a comedian, he's the first one I've seen with a beard. I've never known a comedian who wears a beard. Now, this is no...
Hey, no, that's quite true.
I'm curious. It's very interesting. But that's nothing to do with that, because... but I'm interested in what your ambitions are. You say
Missed again.
That's a nervous reaction, you see.
Me nervous?
Now, tell me, what are you ambitious? I mean, you say, how old are you? No, I've been asked.
Do you know, Frankie Howerd, I'm listening really rapt attention.
Why? No,
Do you know why? You said to Simon Reed and to me, don't ask me anything about humour. Don't ask me anything about that.
I don't know anything
Yes, you
about
did.
it.
Yes, you did. You're asking him.
About him, it's about his ideas.
Sorry, I pointed.
I'm terrorised.
No, I'm not asking about humour, I'm asking about himself. Because I'm interested in what he's like as a person. I don't know him very well. But I've got a good idea. I want to know how much he's acting. Was he really mad? But I mean, he's a very shrewd cookie, you see.
What makes you two laugh?
I would consider myself to be a comedian if I could come out with lines like, did you hear about the old age pensioner bloke who streaked through the Chelsea Flower Show and got first prize for the best dried arrangement? I would consider myself
Now, come out with that. Come out with that. Now, where's the camera? What's the joke?
You said you were going to.
Now, close up,
I
please.
knew you'd do it. You know, he is an anarchist, because I said you shouldn't say those jokes that you said. And you said, I won't, maybe.
You said I shouldn't say the other one.
And the other one.
About the 18-year-old.
Here it comes.
Did you hear about the chosen pensioner? What is it? Streaked. Through the chosen bench. Go on, tell me the joke.
It's dying, Frank, it's dying.
I know this. It's because you're upstaging me, as always. But listen, tell me the joke and I'll tell you how to do it properly. Now, come on.
Well, why don't we go back to
Hey,
my
can't you
place
get a
and I'll show
cleaner
you on
joke?
video.
It's repeating, sort of.
Oh, Mavis,
All
don't be
right,
silly.
Frankie,
won't worry.
what makes you laugh at home?
His old film.
Apart from Kenny
I
Everett.
don't really watch those very much, I'll tell
No,
you
apart
now.
from Kenny Everett, what makes you laugh?
Who makes you laugh? Who makes you laugh?
You know, I wouldn't tell you this. I could tell you who made me laugh, but I was once listening on to a radio chat show, twice, as a matter of fact, and they asked a famous comedian who his famous comics were. He listed about 5, and I wasn't one of them. Now, this man was a friend of mine. I thought of this, and I was a bit hurt. So since then, I've never. But people ask me that question. I never actually give any particular people because I think.
Well, do you think you've got to like the person who is being the comic? You see, I like Tommy Cooper.
Yes. You mean as an artist?
I don't know. Whoever he comes over as a person I actually
No, I
like.
hate Frank Carson. I think he's the most rude person in the world. There's no excuse for being rude at all.
That's right.
But he tells
That's
great
right.
gags.
You're rude. Kenny.
No, but he's not.
What do you
He's
mean
not
you
about.
pimply?
He's not actually.
He's constantly
He's
rude.
not. He's rude. He's not rude about mother-in-laws. He's not rude about that sort of thing. He's rude about institutions.
He's even rude about
He's
the
an
people who say
anarchist.
that nice things about him.
And I don't think you're rude about personal things.
No,
You usually
me?
take it out on yourself, actually.
Yeah, masochist I am.
You're a masochist, right?
He's an anarchist, yeah. No, I've. But why do you say to be rude to an audience? You
Who
say
is?
No, you said didn't like somebody for being rude to an audience.
Frank Carson. Yeah, he's rude about other showbiz people.
Oh, I
which
beg your
is
pardon.
outrageous and.
Rude about the showbiz
where you
people.
going?
I don't know. They told me come over by the sofa by Kenny.
Yes, do you want to be cuddly?
Is it
Yeah,
because?
yeah.
I feel quite left
Why?
out.
But never mind. We're in a little family group.
By the light of the silvery moon.
Shut your face.
What's the second verse?
Listen,
By the light, of the silvery moon.
I thought so, a soprano.
I don't even know if it's the end. Is it the end or
It's
not?
the end, all right.
It's 50.
Completely
I
messed
like
up.
it. I like it in my
Excuse
ear.
me, will you give me a camera on me, please? Which is the camera? There.
Could you-